All right, good morning. Happy Tuesday, September 1st, the old 9-1. So hope you guys are having a great morning so far. It's a little overcast out there, but hey, it's a typical fall day. I don't know if today is officially the first day of fall, but whatever. Usually once September hits, people feel like it is. So, let's see if everything's working. And it is. Cool. So yeah, happy September 1st. Hopefully you guys have some good plans for the month of September. Today kicks off, I don't know, whatever Matt and I are doing, the ride to fight kids' cancer. I'm doing it in memory of our family friend Jamie Benware. The Great Cycle Challenge. So 500 miles for this month. Oh, hello, Matthew. So yeah, I've got like a fundraising goal. I'd like to raise $500 for this riding. I'll post some stuff on Facebook. Maybe in a little bit because the app's not working super well. But oh, hey Becky, hello from Michigan. Haven't been to Michigan since, where did I go in Michigan? I had a race there. I had a race at Long Course Duathlon Nationals there. It was a 10K, 40K, 10K, I want to say we did. And it was loops, so it was like 4 loops. Where was that though? It was in a little Baravian village. I'm sure I'll think of it. That was fun. That hurt a lot because it was loops. So it was like, I think it was 3 loops or 4 loops of the run, 4 loops of the bike, and then 4 loops of the run. So you ended up you ran the same loop 8 times and you just knew how shitty it was. I think it was 3rd overall, 1st in my age group, something like that. That was a good race though. It was cool. It was a cool little town over in Michigan. Yeah. The good old days. Good morning, Deborah. Deborah Armstrong, checking in from apparently sunny Colorado. So I read something the other day from the CDC, Center of Disease Control. Yeah. Now I want to know, what the hell is the name of that town? Frankenmuth. How could I forget? Frankenmuth. Yeah, it's got the world's largest Christmas tree store. That's what I was told. And I mean, the whole damn place, hey mom, is this weird, it's just like, it's strange. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, Frankenmuth. There. It's pretty goofy little place. Biggest Christmas tree store in the United States. That's their claim to fame. But like every restaurant everywhere, they walk around with like the German outfits and stuff. Yes, I know. I typically don't forget much. So anyway, I was reading the CDC report on COVID. Shocking. We haven't talked about that in a long time. So the numbers came out, 161. There was a little bit more. It was like 161, 393 cases or something of people who died. So everybody's been bitching since day one that that the CDC and that all of these hospitals or everybody who dies, like they could get hit by a bus, but if they had COVID, they're marking it as a COVID death. No, they've been marking it saying this person had COVID so that they could do the stats that I'm going to give you, which you can digest in a few different ways. So 161,000 plus cases of people who've died with COVID-19, okay? Only 6% have died because of COVID-19. So in other words, they took all the other factors away. So I'm a seemingly healthy person. I have normal blood work, I have normal, like everything, healthy person. And I get COVID-19 and I die, I would be one of that 6%. If I'm George Floyd, for example, who was suffocated by a piece of shit, then he also tested positive for COVID. He's part of the 161,000. So he's a died with, I'm a died because difference there. So that 6% only equates to 9,300 people in the United States have died because of coronavirus. Now, most people, like I read that and I was like, well, I'm so glad that we have shut down our economy for 6 months for an additional 9,300 people that died because of this virus. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, the number one killer of, like, when you look at of those 161,000 cases, the main piece of that is they all had other comorbidities for the most part. Like a lot of that 161,000 were obese, were overweight, had poor health status to begin with, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you know, all of these other heart disease, other factors that you're automatically at a higher risk of anything. Flu, coronavirus, bird flu, SARS, tuberculosis, like you name it, if you get it, you're probably not going to come out the other side like a leprechaun jumping in jolly. So that tells me that if you fall into that category where you have some other comorbidities, you, for now, have dodged a bullet. However, you know, how long before that bullet bites you in the ass, in the literal sense? So what are you going to do to change that? Do you want to be part of the 161,000 or do you want to be part of the 9,300? I will take I will wage my bets to say that I will continue to work towards trying to be part of that 9,300 because there's obviously a significant less percentage of the population in that realm. So when we look at that, it's like, all right, so how do I eliminate myself from a lot of these comorbidities? And it's like, well, you know, like we talked about yesterday about your map. How do you make your map work? How do you, like, where do you begin? Go to your doctor, get a physical. When was the last time? A lot of people that come in, and there's a thing on my intake form that says, when was the last, you know, when was your last physical? Most people are like, oh, and it's like, most insurance covers one physical a year. And with that, you can get your cholesterol checked. So check with your primary care doctor. If you don't have one, get one. And, you know, that's something to investigate. Because, again, like, kind of going through life, you probably know, like, in the back of your mind, like, I eat like crap every day. I probably have high cholesterol. That's like when someone who comes in that is obese and they're like, but I'm overall healthy. And I'm like, you're not. There's no part of you that's overall healthy. You're obese. You're predisposed to diabetes. You're pre-diabetic. Like, just by being obese, these are just facts. And, you know, sure, your cholesterol might not be bad. Sure, your blood pressure might not be bad. But that doesn't make you healthy. That makes you not having high cholesterol or high blood pressure. So you're still considered at risk of being part of that 161,000. So start by going to the doctor, getting some baseline numbers, and then tell your family, hey, you know what? I need your support. I need to make a change. Because if you are in a house where people are eating pizza and beer and garbage food 100% of the time, you're just consistently sitting there slowly, like, punishing yourself. So create the environment at home, because home is our sanctuary. If you can't be comfortable in your home and you can't be comfortable with the people around you, You know, if your spouse is sitting there eating pizza in front of you, eventually you're going to cave in. Eventually you are going to break and have the pizza, and you're going to break and have the chips and the beer and whatever else that everybody else is eating in your house. So talk to your family. Say, look, I'm 300 pounds. I am sick and tired of being 300 pounds. I am sick and tired of feeling like garbage. I am sick and tired of being part of the statistic that is, you know, the end of life is moving closer and closer. Nobody lives to 100 that's 300 pounds. I want to live to 100. I want to be here to see my great-great-grandkids. But you have to have these conversations. Your significant other is not going to be like, well, I like you the way you are. I don't mind if you die early. I mean, and if they are, well, you probably should seek some counseling. So talk to your family. Get the support. Get some of this stuff off of your chest. Be open with them so they understand the severity from your perspective. Because again, if you're sitting there like shouldering this burden of like, I am sick and miserable all the time and I'm tired of being sick and miserable, but you know, my family won't understand. And it's like, how do you know? When was the last time you've asked them? When was the last time you've had a legitimate talk about this instead of just, oh, dad's trying a new diet, or oh, mom's going to try a new diet again. Here we go. We're going to be eating lettuce for the rest of our lives, you know, or for the next 2 weeks until she fails. And it's like, if you tell them the stakes that are involved, and if you tell them the severity and why it's so important, more than likely, unless you're talking to like a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, which, and honestly, I think Jerry would get it. I don't think Parker would. But if I had to have that talk with Jerry, he'd probably be like, I understand. And he'd be your advocate. They're going to be the ones that are going to, the reason you don't have that conversation with them, every 10 pounds makes a big difference. Matt and I were texting about that. I'll actually share that information someday. Hold on, I think it's actually 5 pounds, Matt, but 10 pounds sounds better. We'll call it the 10-pound rule. It only applies to guys. So, you know, have that conversation. A lot of times you don't want to have that conversation because you're embarrassed. Or you're like, you know, they're not going to buy in anyway. The kids don't want to, you know, they don't want to do any of this stuff. And it's like, your kids would rather make a sacrifice, a short-term sacrifice now, knowing that maybe I can help dad live 10 more years, or maybe I can help mom live 15 more years, as opposed to, well, I mean, my mom's going to be dead at 35 or 50, so, you know, that's cool. I'll be like 18 when my mom dies. No, they don't want that, more than likely. Some days they do, but for the most part, they don't. And I mean, and maybe, I don't know, if you've got teenagers, they probably do. So also talk to your friends, because honestly, like your friends, like they're going to think that you're crazy. But if you're like, hey, you know what, guys, I'll take you out on the boat, but I can't be drinking. Like I've got to do something about my health. Because here's the other side of it. There's 2 ways to look at this equation. We can look at it from, let's say, an alcoholic's perspective. If I'm an alcoholic and you and I are like hanging out and you're like, hey, do you want to go to the bar? Maybe you'd ask me that. Probably not. Maybe you would. And I'd be like, sure, we can go to the bar. I don't need to have a drink. But then when we get there, you know I'm an alcoholic. You know that I've been in recovery for 2 years, or maybe even 6 months. Maybe 6 months. We'll go with 6 months. You're not going to be like, hey, man, why don't you have a beer? It's just one. You'll be fine. It's just a beer. You won't start drinking again. More than likely, you're not going to do that. That sounds ludicrous to ask a friend who is a recovering alcoholic to go have a beer with you. However, if you're a fat, morbidly obese person and your friend is, let's just say, like healthy weight, healthy, you know, body fat percentage and everything, and they're like, hey, buddy, want to go grab a pizza? Isn't it kind of the same thing? If you've been trying to lose weight for a month and they're like, don't worry about it, you've been doing great on your diet. We seem to, with food, we seem to make it so that we're like, it's okay to cheat on your diet or to take an off day. because you could just get right back on tomorrow. But can an alcoholic, someone who's addicted to alcohol, do that? Not usually, right? So if you think about it in that perspective, all of a sudden it's, oh, maybe I should stop inviting my friend who's trying to like better their life. Maybe I should stop inviting them to fail and instead invite them to succeed. Instead of saying, hey buddy, why don't we go grab a piece of pizza? Or hey buddy, why don't we go get an ice cream? Or you worked really hard today, you deserve it. Really? But what if it takes me 6 months to get back on track because I finally have that ice cream and I'm addicted to food, so now I go on a binge and I eat 5 gallons of ice cream. I might not do it with you, but I do it on my own. So find your friends, explain to them what you want to do. Just like if I was a recovering alcoholic and every weekend my buddies were like, hey man, let's go grab a beer. And I'm like, something came up. Eventually I'm going to have to tell them, hey guys, I've been going to AA for 6 months and this is why I don't drink. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you tell them that, they're going to be like, hey, what can, we want to hang out. What can we do? We don't want to, push you off the deep end. If you tell them the same thing with food and it's like, hey, I'm legitimately addicted to ice cream. Once I have some, I stop on the way home and I'll buy 4 more gallons because I literally can't stop myself. They're probably not going to ask you to go get ice cream. So be open and be upfront because again, the only thing that you have to lose is possibly some people who you thought were friends who probably aren't. If they're like, you know what, man, you're friggin' whack. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. Or you're going to find that they're going to be like, all right, how can we help? Like, what can we do to avoid that? We want to help you. We want to help see you succeed. We don't want you to die at 65. I've got a good friend that I grew up with. It's, Woody. He's under 200 pounds for the first time since I'd say probably 2000. Super proud of him because he's done it. He finally got his shit together after me yelling at him for 100 years. And he's finally realized like, okay, I'm not going to make it to 80 if I don't make a change. It took him 40 years to figure it out, but he's getting there. He's stubborn. That's Woody. But in any event, he knows like he'll call me and he'll be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What should I be changing? And because he knows that I'm going to be that sounding board, he's not going to call someone else who's like, buddy, let's just go grab beers. Don't worry about it. You can fix your diet tomorrow. No, because he really wants to make that change. So he's surrounding himself with people that are going to help him do that. So that's how you become part of that 6% of those cases. You don't want to be part of that 161,000 cases. You don't want to be one of those people who has all of these comorbidities. So what are you going to do? How are you going to make that map? How are you going to make the change to start to integrate these healthier steps? Start by going to the doctor. Start by talking to your family and friends about what you truly, truly want to be. And again, sit down and don't just be like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of being fat. I want to be healthy. Give them some details. Tell them the truth because that's the only way that they're going to say, wow, I never realized Dad was going into the bedroom after we went to bed and eating 2 bags of chips and, basically crying himself to sleep because he's so ashamed of his eating habits. And yet we're asking Mom to buy chips every week. But again, talk to your friends, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and I'm sure that you will find that they will support you. And maybe tomorrow, probably not tomorrow. Someday in the future, Matt, we'll talk about the 10-pound rule. That was something I heard, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. And I thought it was funny back then. So I hope that made sense. I hope it resonated with a lot of you because a lot of you could truly benefit from that. If you have any questions, as always, you feel free to reach out. And I will see you tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll be on halfway through this week. And then this weekend's Labor Day. So bring all of your party barges back from the lake because Labor Day typically ends summer. A lot of the DEC campgrounds closed this weekend. So it's all coming to a beautiful end, but that just leaves us time for fall, deer season, winter skiing, and snowshoeing, and fat biking in the snow, and anything else I forget that we can do in the fall and winter. So just because the summer is ending does not mean that your expeditions have to. So fall is the best time of year in upstate New York. It's the best time of year in a lot of places because it's cooler mornings, nice days. So, oh, Becky, I saw the Big 10 point today. It was beautiful to see him eating soybeans, fattening up, and don't forget Zwifting. So I will post a link on my Facebook page for this cancer ride thing that I'm doing. So if you feel so inclined to donate, go ahead, throw a few bucks. Really, if you think about it, you send me $5, that's one drink at Starbucks. And I tell you what, you send me $5 to that, you might even get a Venmo for $5 to Starbucks or Dunkin' or whatever else you want to do, Cafe Kubal. I'd like it if you go support Matt over at Cafe Kubal. So I'll post it on the Facebook page. You send me $5, you might get $5. You just never know. That's the beauty of the internet, folks. Either way, I'll catch you cats tomorrow.